But I think the first question is, when you sit in the quiet of your spirit and when you are praying or listening, what are you sensing? What are you hearing? And one answer could be, well, that's a good question because I actually don't sit and I don't pray and I can't hear God. Okay, well then what does it look like for you to listen? We begin to craft some of those practices of silence and solitude and, rhythms. But some people already have an inkling of, well, I do think I might have heard this from the Lord. I'm sensing this. Okay, let's talk about that. So I feel like the faith-based coaching that I'm bringing, honestly, it's pretty simple. It's a safe container. It's a safe space for someone to sit just like we're talking and say what's really on their mind. Because I think what happens, and maybe you have encountered this in the church world, is there are so many outside expectations or perceived expectations that have been overlaid and are kind of like blanketing or covering what this person is truly sensing in their spirit. So a lot of times, again, it's like the layers of the onion. You kind of gotta peel it back. And just like onions make you cry when you peel them, that sometimes happens when you start peeling back the layers. People start to get emotional. And then you're like, why are you getting emotional? So I think the faith-based stuff is, how are you hearing God's voice? And then connecting the dots with, what are you sensing and feeling in your spirit? Sometimes we're so disconnected from our actual bodies and our feelings that they're very separate and siloed. And so I try to bring all of that back into congruency, back into alignment, connected, so that we can begin to see the pieces of the puzzle and what is their next step? What could it be?
When you have someone who maybe they've been distant from God for a while, and you ask that question, "How do you hear God's voice?"
Hmm.
And they go, "I really don't have any idea."
Hmm.
How do you lead them to begin to discover or reconnect so they can hear the voice of God?
That's a good question because it definitely happens. It's actually not uncommon. So really, I think the first thing is to just start with some silence and just, I will pray for them. I will pray for them and I will ask the Lord to begin to remind them that he loves them and remind them that he's speaking to them. And we'll sit in silence for a minute and I'll say something like, Lord, what do you want this person to know about how you see him, how you've designed him? What's a word that you want to share with him about his calling or who he is?